The state of Florida has truly put up historic numbers of support for our 287G program. Today, we're going to announce funding that was able to go to the state and local law enforcement officers that will affect their bottom line and help them with more equipment, more transparency, and be able to affect immigration law nationwide. I'll announce the exciting part. So thanks to President Trump and Secretary Noem's big, beautiful bill, we are able to give out $1.7 billion to state and local law enforcement. Today, I'd like to present a check to the state of Florida for over $28 million and to local law enforcement for over $10 million.
Over the last 5 months, Florida law enforcement officials have arrested more than 6,000 people suspected of being in the country illegally. The announcement comes as Department of Homeland Security officials declared they are reimbursing the state for nearly $30 million for immigration-related expenses. At an event in Tallahassee, Madison Sheahan, the Deputy Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, applauded Florida's efforts and said the agency is doling out $1.7 billion to state and local law enforcement across the country. Florida's total of more than 6,000 arrests builds on the more than 5,000 arrests carried out over a 3-month period in the Los Angeles area, according to DHS. More than 940 arrests were made by officials over 1 month in a Washington, D.C. operation. Local and state officers in Florida have been empowered to launch a sweeping immigration enforcement effort to arrest residents who lack legal status.
Announce the exciting part. So thanks to President Trump and Secretary Noem's big, beautiful bill, we are able to give out $1.7 billion to state and local law enforcement. Today, I'd like to present a check to the state of Florida for over $28 million and to local law enforcement for over $10 million. I want to acknowledge the attack that happened in Dallas this week at our ICE facility and acknowledge the fact that we're praying for all the victims as well as the law enforcement officers that responded to the scene and acted heroically to continue to save more detainees' lives as we've seen footage come out in the recent days, but also working with the FBI throughout this investigation as we release more information to the American people. So with that being said, I want to acknowledge why we're here today. Today we're here to announce a historic agreement with the state of Florida, a 287G program that started on January 20th, thanks to President Trump. After the passage of the big, beautiful bill, we were able to put in historic funding into our 287G officers. This is funding that can go straight to equipment, to the work that's being done out on the street, and to other supplies and resources that our officers need. The state of Florida has truly put up historic numbers of support for our 287G program, with over 4,700 officers statewide executing arrests on criminally illegal aliens, to include a Mexican citizen that was arrested by the Highway Patrol for DUI, battery, disorderly conduct, and the list goes on, including a Polk County arrest of somebody convicted of fraud over $20,000, including had been removed from the United States more than 3 times. We also have a list of arrests here for Mexican citizens, including possession of methamphetamines, burglary, resisting arrest. We have Venezuelans with a list of drug paraphernalia and large amounts of drugs in their possessions. We've had misuse of passports, fraud, misrepresenting themselves, concealing of dangerous weapons, and the list goes on and on. But then to Governor DeSantis' commitment to the people of Florida, we truly have a historic partnership, a partnership that we don't see anywhere else nationwide, a partnership that has made it a priority to make sure that President Trump's immigration policies and enforcement is enforced every single day. And I always remind people that the men and women of ICE enforce immigration law as it's written. They all go out every day to remove the worst of the worst from the streets of America. That's gang members, murderers, rapists, and the people of Florida are grateful for the work that Governor DeSantis, his state troopers, sheriffs, and everyone statewide continue to do on a daily basis. And so today we're going to announce funding that was able to go to the state and local law enforcement officers that will affect their bottom line and help them with more equipment, more transparency, and be able to affect immigration law nationwide. This is a partnership that we're here to brag about, a partnership that Governor DeSantis has made a priority, so that way we can let everyone know how important it is to be a part of our 287G program. This program not only goes after targeted criminal aliens, but it also goes out and looks for the unaccompanied minors who crossed the border in the previous administration. We know that we have over 100,000 to 500,000 minors who cross the border, and we are looking for those minors every single day, and we have worked to locate those nationwide, but in the state of Florida, we've seen a huge partnership with that, and I'm grateful for the state to be able to make that a priority and work with us. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Governor DeSantis, who's been a huge supporter of the men and women of ICE, who has had our back throughout this entire process, but also has gone out and done the work that's necessary for the American people and for the people of Florida to keep safe. Governor DeSantis?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Deputy Director. Welcome to Tallahassee. There'll be a lot of folks here watching TV tonight to see Florida State against Virginia, and I can tell you if they take care of business, next weekend is going to be wild here. It'll be undefeated Miami coming in, and probably the most significant game we have had in this state in a long time. I see JD, our lottery secretary. Yeah, he played for the Seminoles in the glory days, and like last year, every time he'd see me, just shake his head because, you know, it was tough, but the year before was great. So people are really excited about that, and so you know, we wish them well tonight. And next weekend will be pretty crazy here in the Sunshine State. I also, just because you know, this is the type of guy I am, I do want to wish our First Lady a happy wedding anniversary, because that's our 16th anniversary today. Last year was 15. That's a pretty big milestone, and so I had all this great stuff planned. I mean, I really was planning something great, and those plans got interrupted by a young lady named Helene, who came screaming down the west coast of Florida, and that was really difficult. And then we had to deal with Mr. Milton after that, and so that was a 4 to 6 week blur that we weren't able to do. So so happy 16th anniversary to Florida's First Lady, my wife, Casey. We love you. And I also want to thank everybody who's here. I see a lot of folks here in attendance who are working very hard on this. Mark Glass from FDLE has leaned in tremendously. They were right there with Director Kerner signing a 287G agreement literally on day one. As soon as DHS was in place under Donald Trump, they were ready, willing, and able to do that and step up. And I think our state agencies have really led the way on so many of this stuff. I also see our Chief Financial Officer, Blaise Ngolia. I want to thank him for what he's doing. He's helping within the confines of his office on the illegal immigration issue, but he, as a senator, really helped draft the legislation that we've put in place over these years that makes Florida the most effective state in offering support for the Trump administration in this really, really important mission. You may see him out and about now. He's tussling with some of these local politicians about, you know, do you need to spend this much? Why not reduce people's property taxes? And I know people want to see a lot of relief on that. I also see Kevin Guthrie, Division of Emergency Management. Now, they're doing great stuff with some of the processing and detention leading into deportation efforts, both Alligator Alcatraz as well as the deportation depot. I know they're working on a Panhandle Pokey, and who knows what else after that. If it can be mission critical, we want to be helpful. But the fact that he's here today means that we haven't seen any violent change in Invest 94, because I told him, I said, you know, they say it's not going to hit us, but I just, you know, so he's monitoring that, and obviously we'll be monitoring that going forward. So, and there's other people here doing great stuff, so many great sheriffs throughout the state of Florida. I think it's really appropriate that we're here at the Florida Sheriff's Association. I mean, Kerner was just down in Brevard County with Sheriff Ivey. You know, they got like 400 in a 4-day operation, 400 illegal aliens that were arrested and will be processed out of this country. Just incredible cooperation, local, state, and federal. So I'm glad that Florida stepped up for the 287G. I'm glad we imposed a legal duty, and the Attorney General was quarterbacking this as the Chief of Staff in my office when we did the special session. But the reality is, we do have a lot of folks that would want to be helpful. But when you have that duty, we say, here's the standard, all hands on deck, this is mission critical. That has been really important. And other states, I think, could learn a lot by what Florida's done in that situation. But when we've done all this stuff, it's funny because you'll have people in the media, they never talk about how much money is being spent on liberal initiatives. It's just like you never want to mention that, right? But on anything with immigration, it's like, oh, how much does that cost? This, that, and the other thing. And the reality is, and what we said from the beginning is, this is supporting an important federal mission. These things like the detention facilities and stuff, those are going to be reimbursable. Our sheriffs are going to be able to get reimbursement. Our state agencies are going to be reimbursement. And some people tried to say that wasn't going to happen. And I think today with these checks, this is just the beginning. It's showing we're stepping up, doing the right thing. We're putting our folks through the proper training. We're doing all this, but we have a great working relationship with both the Trump administration writ large, but particularly DHS and ICE, and they're doing what they said that they would do to be able to support all these agencies. And so the mission continues on this. I think we've got a lot of momentum.